Wait, and it looks like it's connected, and
Let me see if I can get these on.
it looks like it's loading on that end.
United Kingdom. Agree.
GGPHelp Live.
Right. I've got this.
We are miners.
I've got the announcement up. How you're going to see the chat to see what anybody says? How do I? Oh, I've got to turn the page. Okay. It's a strange way of reading an RNS.
And hopefully we can be seen.
Evening, everyone.
Hello, who's there? I'm not sure if anyone's there. Is anyone there?
Hold on, let me get on
Oh,
YouTube.
Look at that. Straight off the bat. L2 Andy. Nice one, Andy. Can you see us and hear us both? Oh, crystal clear. That's what I like to hear. Beautiful.
Ever so reliable.
Beautiful.
Good to hear.
Oh, now, I thought to celebrate, I do have this little can of beer with me to enjoy this evening.
As I said, I'm Benjamin buttoning it. Usually I build my way up to the announcement, getting more and more pissed, and then they get the announcement, and you get blabber. Now you're going to get blabber from the start. I'm going to drink some water and get slowly more sober now.
Slowly get sobered up. So yeah, if you've come for don't wait till the end for drunk stew.
I'm trying to find the YouTube channel just to see if I can see the comments.
Stu needs to invest in a better camera. I think he needs a better. He's stuck on his phone. He tried to do it off his computer, but
yeah. We've got everything set up. Except we're on the phone. Hopefully everyone can hear that. Right, I think
they can. Right, okay. I don't know how many people are there. 56. That'll do.
Sean says I'll come back in an hour when he's sobered up.
Good evening, everybody. Indeed, here we are live, GGPHelp TV. I'm here with Stu. Stu, good evening, mate. How are you?
I'm good, my friend. I'm good. As I said, Benjamin buttoning it this evening. Big smile on my face. Haven't quite all I've done so far, literally, is read the RNS. The main RNS, not the primary bid or the second RNS that came. And then I posted on the group, walked through the door after a day out with a client and loads of pints. And yeah, you said, let's go live. We've been waiting for this for,
It's been a while. My girls are about to walk in through the door, so they're in for a shock as they find themselves on YouTube. So here comes the distraction already. Hello.
Oh, is that Baxter?
I'm recording the show. Is both okay? Yeah. Good. I'm live on YouTube. Say hi.
Evening, girls.
There you go.
YouTube.
Anyway, so we're here because it's finally here, and it's not even the announce that anyone was expecting up until 3 months ago. You know, I mean, we rewind this story back a little bit. We were barely clinging on for our little 5% a year or so ago. And now all of a sudden we're here, not only with that extra 5%, but also the 70 extra percent of Javier on, and now 100% of Telfa. Stu, I mean, you've been here for a long time, man. What does that mean to you?
I wish I could be like Choddy and some of the other guys and claim it from the start that this would have been my least likely scenario from the start. One, I never saw Newcrest giving up what I saw as a massive tier one asset, and a tier one asset can change a country, probably not Australia, but it can have a 30-year commitment to the people. And these are crazy assets, which I've always believed we had. We do still have that, and I never saw the 5% coming. It was a big investing lesson, even when you're 99.9% sure of something. When it doesn't happen and you realize that unknown, or that element you left to chance, or that possibility you thought could never happen, you have to realize those always do happen. I'm sure you were the same. When the 5%, when they didn't take it, I was just flabbergasted. There was nothing I could have imagined why you would have made that decision. And I think now, in the mind of a major making decisions over that entire portfolio, when somebody's offering you, you've got to pay 60 million here, and all your bigwigs are just waiting for their payout with Newmont, that decision started years ago. I can now see how lucky we were that Gervais left, and we had SD to come in and clean up the shit, but also how lucky we were just situationally, right?
Yeah.
Just the fact that Newcrest were in that flux, obviously, through that entire period. We didn't know that until the deal, obviously, in hindsight as private investors. But now, if you back test that, you kind of go, oh, shit, okay, they really didn't give a shit. They really, even if it was worth 500 million, they wouldn't buy it for 60 million because the people who made those decisions were on their way out the door. And trying to justify that was a distraction if you look at the entire portfolio as a whole. So, yeah, that now makes sense, which makes me feel like a slightly less terrible investor, because that's the one thing of my 20 years of investing that I was 100% sure was going to happen and didn't. I was just, that's now explained. And then the next part is, obviously, we've all been waiting for the Lassonde curve, which I genuinely believe not only does it start now, man. Jeez, what is it? It starts with something that produced, what was it, 350,000 ounces or 450 kilo ounces last year?
Something like that. Literally,
it's in the RNS, but anyway, it's a going concern, and I think what people don't realize is, whilst these big majors have all-in sustaining costs for their individual mines, there's obviously overall corporate overheads. There's obviously, global parts of that cog that contribute massively to those expense ratios. That's weighted averaged across the portfolio. So you saw in that RNS. Like, I need to open it. I've read it once, folks, so please, a bit pissed you reading it once. Don't fact check me on things, but didn't it say $1,400 and something stable state 15-year all-in sustaining cost?
I'm sorry. I've got screens and bells and whistles and all sorts going on here, but asking me to recite something from the RNS, probably not your best move this evening, because
I'm gonna find
actually not read it.
Oh, wow.
I genuinely, I've skim read a few bits. I've literally taken all of the stuff that's come through on the stream. It's just been constant, and so I've looked at bits. I've tried to read it, but it's so big. It needs a real good proper sit down and time to go through it.
I'm just trying to do something very quickly here. Forward.
So I've got it. I can stick it on the screen if that helps. It's no biggie. I can hit share.
I'm just going to try something quickly and see if I can sort my camera out.
Apart from the fact I must have closed it, which is just genius. There it is.
All right, let me see if I can get into the camera here on my laptop.
Here we go.
Get rid of my face. You can still hear me fine, so that's good.
Yeah, so, yeah. It's moved us over. It's very clever, this software. I quite like it. It's a bit more intuitive than the other stuff. So yeah. Shall I read it and then we'll break it down?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly that.
Let me read the RNS for the first time. Greatland Gold and certain of its wholly owned subsidiaries have entered into a binding agreement with certain Newmont Corporation subsidiaries, Newmont, to acquire the subject to certain conditions being satisfied. A 70% ownership interest in Havieron Gold Copper Project, consolidating to 100%, and 100% ownership of the Telfer Gold Copper Mine. And I tell you what, there is so much more coming out of it than just a mine. That's starting to blow my mind.
It's going to be wonderful to unpack. And
other related interests.
We've done it. That's the big one, right?
And we've done it, right? The companies agreed to acquire target assets for total consideration and debt repayment of up to $475 million, comprising the $207 million cash, including $155.1 million acquisition consideration, and a $52 million repayment to the outstanding Havieron joint venture loan. There's also $167.5 million in the form of a horrific number of shares to be issued to Newmont at the issue price below, which we know is 4.8p, and $100 million in deferred cash consideration, which I believe is what you were talking about yesterday with Dip.
Yes, so but let's stop there. Let's stop there because that's everything in a nutshell, which then is going to be elaborated on. So I think that the big point to mention, and obviously yesterday's leak was too good to be true. It was close. It was the US dollar, not the AUD dollar. I think it was as far as the raise is concerned, but as some people in the group figured out, or at least assumed, that was a bit too cheap, and it was probably going to be just a raised portion, which now that's been confirmed. So the points to mention here is that USD 475 million before adjustments. So that is the whole bang lot. That's what we've paid for it. 475 million, and then obviously it's sort of made up of all sorts of different things. That's 475 million in today's money, in, as we all know, a very outdated PFS and sort of, well, the MRE is a bit more up to date, but I don't think they would have paid much on that. So the Grant Samuel valuation was 500 to 600 million. It was also done a long time ago. It was done well before the gold price was above 2,000. So quite out of date for a gold miner, right? So I think as far as the accretive bit goes, just from that headline, if you wanted to stop there, 475 US dollar million is a great deal. Liam, do you agree?
I do, especially when we get a bit lower and we find out what position the mine is in terms of what state the mine is in. And I mean, it's been stockpiling ore for months that all needs processing.
Well, I think that's very interesting. I wasn't a believer that they just sort of give us all of that, but I think this sort of shows that, well, they haven't. They've taken a 20%, by the looks of things, about a 20% stake in us. Now let's try. Should we work that out now? Let me go on Greatland's website. Get our overall.
I love how Stu Kung Fu says, "Shall we work that out?" And I'm like, yeah, sure, go for it, because I'm not getting involved in any numbers tonight.
I can't, because I usually use my phone, which is recording.
I wonder if our producer, our old producer's knocking around. If the producer's knocking around, those figures might appear in my DMs at some point shortly. Not like we told him we were going to be live. It'd be a shock to the system. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. I think I'm finally in.
Oh,
and I
I'm trying to move on the
I
page
can
now.
swap over from my phone. Can I do that quickly?
Go for it. I will just waffle along.
You can keep going, and when it starts echoing, I'll stop. Camera setup, allow. Join studio. I'm not using headphones. Oh, we did this last time, and they couldn't hear me, could they? We can't access your video. Okay, fuck it. Don't worry. Let's move on. So keep reading. Sorry, just wanted to stop that. That's the headline.
That's Stu. Literally, it's just come up on my watch from the producer. What are you trying to calculate? So if you'd say right now what it is you're trying to calculate, okay, I'll get those numbers come through to me. Well,
wonderful.
Or us.
So I want to know how much Newmont owns of our enlarged share capital.
In terms of percentage,
with that 2,669,182,291. So
I think someone earlier said, actually, now I'm getting involved and I shouldn't be. I think someone earlier said it was 18.4%. I could be completely wrong.
My guess was around the 20, so that sounds good. And if I'm not mistaken, there's something to do with 19.9. That's if you go above 19.9, you have to have a board member, or there's certain corporate things that come out of that sort of level of ownership. So, okay, a 20% stake by the largest miner in the world. So that sounds pretty positive.
I mean, when you say it like, and somebody else said it earlier, when you say it like that, the world's largest gold miner wants a stake in our little company.
Yeah. They've joined us.
They're only interested in making money.
Yeah,
they're only interested in making money, aren't they?
Yeah, that's a massive endorsement, and then you've got one of the other world's largest miners being the cornerstone investor. So, no one's who could have thought back in Gervais days when we were poking about that. The two Fortescue backed and Newmont basically own now a very large portion of the company. So.
Sorry, I got 2 points. First of all, producer's gone, just check the YouTube chat. Everyone's screaming it at you. And there's tons in there. 20%, 20%. Dip says 20.4%. And then the producer Producer says 20.4% for NEM and Wailu about 15%. But it's interesting, Stu, because the first time we got together and the first time we met, you told me your story, and it was Newmont that completely devastated this share way back when, and it's strange that they are the ones that are actually giving us this life now.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
isn't it just? and you know, it's just a sort of comedy of errors. It was Newcrest who went, you know, who originally. No, it was Newmont, didn't it? Who went and originally did the drilling, and then they became Newcrest, but they were actually Newmont when they did the drilling, and said not at the famous RNS, not at this time. And I think when you went back, and Callum obviously found these in a library or something like that of old drill results, and there was some hits at sort of 15 gram per ton, and he was like, "Holy shit! What do you mean not at this time?" And of course, what they meant was not at this time, and now, you know, was GGP's time. But you know, that's always why I've had a bit of I think Callum's a wonderful geologist, but he's even a better sort of strategician, because he went there and he found that old bit. And I think you ask Richard and some of the other guys in our mining chats who've actually been miners, being able to reopen an old gold mine has been a massive success story throughout where I come from in South Africa. Massive, and obviously it ebbs and flows with the ups and downs of the gold price. And I think realistically, when Newcrest started wanting to sell out, and when Newmont bought and said non-core, you know, we've got 1,300 to 1,600 US dollar gold prices in every single model that every single financial decision of these majors has been made upon, which is always why someone like Northern Star, you know, so many have made their fortunes from the scraps of majors, from the scraps of Barrick and Newmont. And we have those inside men who saw these scraps from a long way out. We all knew they were company building. I thought they were just serious about actually mining this thing. I didn't think the opportunity would ever arise to buy 70%. I guess what I overlooked was that someone would want to sell Telfer. I would never have wanted to buy Telfer, but I didn't put the two together to say, oh, they're gonna package them up, and that's the only way we'll get it. And now with the gold price, the global macroeconomics, goodness me, this is perfect timing.
And here's the thing:
bash a bunch of drills like Money of Mine said this morning, right? Get in there and just fan drill the shit out of it. Get down the bottom of the decline, fan drill it. Within 2 years after this cash raise, these resources can double if we own it and we're actually going in it for us, and we're not worrying about going too far ahead and creating too much value for our junior partner so we can buy them out cheaper, which I think would have been their initial intentions. So,
but here's the thing, and I'm skipping way ahead now. Newmont, since May 2024, have drilled a 1.8 kilometre tunnel in Telfer under the dome and have started a drilling program. They're drilling the West Dome Deeps. So where they've got the underground, where they've got the pit, I've only just found out it's on one of these documents. There is an ore body potentially of size underneath the pit, and so that's an exploration program for the next 12 months.
Yeah,
already started.
I mean, it's one of those where it's the old saying, it's like buses, right? This is going to be like buses for our shareholders. I mean, you know what? The only I would normally be pretty pissed off at the 30% discount for this 4.8p raise. I really would. But if you think of the fact that we're raising, it's almost double our market cap, isn't it? In total consideration, considering the loans and what's been spent already. But I think just look at what we're getting. We're getting more than double to, another 40% on top of our 30%, which should have been 25%. You're then getting this. Remember how many? It's 13 million ounces have been mined from Telfer, and it's a 27 million ounce deposit. I don't know what their conversion rate. It's not 82% or whatever Havarians is. But I think also one thing is I really would love to get a guest on with you, Liam, is to understand the metallurgy, to understand someone like Shiny Bits, that you posted a really good message, I think, from him. Sort of, lots of jargon about the trains and how everything works. And you can correct me here if I'm wrong, but the gist of it was this train A, train B is sort of refers to various separations, but it's not like one is over here and one's over there. The
No.
entire processing plant is kind of one. And for us to go in and potentially separate Telfer ore from Have ore, this has been the status quo again, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we've always thought one's going to be ours, one's going to be theirs. Like they were these two separate things. And I'm perfectly happy to admit that's always been my opinion. I'm not mining savvy enough
100%.
to have known otherwise until very recently, really, when you posted that message and I thought about it a bit. So am I wrong in saying that the current thesis is that in order, if you did want to separate Havarian and Telfer, you'd actually have to build a physical wall through the bunding?
Yep, that's exactly what was said, and it's going to cost you hundreds of millions of dollars to facilitate that entire process because it's practically impossible.
Someone just said, was shiny bits previously red earth on LSE? Let me tell you what, mate, if it was red earth, I will 100% blindly believe anything the man says, because that's Reddit was the guy who got me into GGP. And he was the only person in GGP who ever, sort of, in my opinion, laid down very useful information that was 100% accurate. And whether he got into trouble or not, he kind of disappeared, but then he'd pop up once a year. But he's the OG. Reddit is the OG of GGP. He's the absolute. I hope he's still invested. Gosh, I hope he's still invested.
Indeed.
We're trying to read this RNS.
I know, right? The chat is going absolutely nuts. I'm just watching all these messages fly out. Old friends are meeting here and all sorts. Like Costa and Dip haven't spoken, for as I can tell, for months. And oh, hi, my God, how are you? Oh, great, yeah. It's lovely to see.
So I'm going to read some of them because we can't keep up. But we've obtained 426 kilo ounces to produce over the next 15 months from Telfer resuming ops at 1,450. There it is. So 1,450 AISC. If you looked at the Newmont accounts in this last run, it was 2,300 and something. It was way higher. So this is what I've been wondering is how much is that corporate overhead and cross-charging? How much is that portion? And it looks massive. Guys, 1,400. He mentioned the gold price dipping to 1,400. We better be very worried because you're at war. No, because we go up, right? It's gold. But I cannot see it getting... This is amazing if you look at that sort of deal. A stockpile and ability to process 420,000 in a plant that can already and is made to process that 400. We're in GDX by next year. We have to be. We're straight into being a mining company.
We tick all the boxes. As soon as this happens, this deal goes through. We've ticked all the boxes. We don't even need to wait to get to a certain penny.
Anybody want to venture a guess what our market cap will be? I mean, it's
Well, it's on one of these documents, 860 million, I believe.
86, so that's the fully capitalized amount. 860 million. Is that
per the
USD
document. I need to find it. I need to be fact checked on that.
Is that
absolutely
USD or pounds? Someone in the chat will correct
dollar.
us, I'm sure.
Dollar. I think it's on the AIM admission document is the one you're looking for. Okay. Anyway, listen. The completion of the acquisition is subject to the satisfaction of certain conditions precedent described in the further information of the document I just mentioned. Blah 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 blah. Now, I need to move over to this screen because that's how I move it. And this bit is really, really important. I think this is the bit that shareholders initially need to consider what the company is saying. The acquisition of Javier and Telfer is a highly accretive and strategically compelling transaction that's the potential to deliver material value to Greatland shareholders. As a discoverer of Javieron, an existing joint venture owner, Greatland's team has an unrivaled knowledge of the project. Consolidation of 100% ownership of Javieron and the acquisition of Telfer provides Greatland the opportunity to control, integration and optimization of the combined assets with the objective of creating a generalization Australian gold copper mining complex. That means a highly creative acquisition, a 1.4x accretion on the they've done something. They've written this on purpose to completely screw me up. The attributable mineral resources per share of the enlarged Greatland Group. So I believe, reading that as Joe Blogs, just somebody who's what was it I called myself earlier? I called myself a what was the word? It doesn't matter. Basically, an unsophisticated shareholder. That is me. I am
Whatever
the
we are, we all are.
quintessential.
All
That's the
retail
word.
shareholders are unsophisticated shareholders, because I know this. And Torin will know this, because we both invested in a horrible crypto company called Pluto, and we got scammed, and they ran away with our money. And I had to sign a form saying I was not an unsophisticated retail investor. And every question they asked, I was like, yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's me. Yeah, but I still want to put some money in this thing. And yeah, anyway, they ran away with our money. It went bankrupt, and I'm hoping to claim back some losses, but you need profits to do that. So, we're going to have to wait it out. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's
so
brutal.
1.4, if I'm, and please correct us again in the chat, but that to me in layman's terms is you own one apple, you get 1.4 apples.
So,
So
so,
it's
so,
a 40% increase. It's a
so even
40%
though,
for the net asset value. Now you've got to look at what is that net asset value. Is it based off the most recent MRE? Is it based off the PFS? Is it based off our market cap? Any of those are undervalued, right? So it's a 40% increase on our existing current massively undervalued uncertain share price. That's what I see it as. And
excuse me,
yes,
and the question there, Stu, is reading this, and as this document is, that 1.4, is that based on how my now diluted shareholding?
yes. So if you were the accountant and you're wanting to say, look, it's the top of the RNS. Key highlights include, what do I want to see as a retail or an existing? You'd always said from the start that this is going to be accretive to shareholders. Obviously, we were thinking, well, of course, we got 30%, we're going to own 70%. That's more than double we own, so it's going to be accretive, sure. But what he was meaning is you'll own something, and the day we've done this, you'll own more of that something. And that's what he's trying to illustrate here, in my opinion. You own 140% of what was 100%.
Yeah.
You've got, and then what I think, if I was sitting in front of Sean now at the town hall and I asked him this question, I think he would justify the 30% discount of the placing to say, I gave them a 30% discount, I gave you a 40% bonus.
I mean, when you put it like that, I mean, that's exactly what people need to hear, isn't it? I gave
Well,
them the
that's how
30,
I'm
I've
seeing it.
given
And
you
again,
40.
the chat can maybe correct me, but I think if I'm Sean and I'm looking at his, what he's set out to do, which was make this accretive and get buy the farm back. He's saying to us, when all is said and done, you've got 140%, and yes, those other guys are going to get 30%. And if you've got some spare money, throw it into a
Sorry,
fund and
someone's
share
asking what I'm
account,
drinking.
and
I'm drinking that.
you can also get a discount. So, yeah, let's see.
So yeah, chat, please do tell us if you agree with that or disagree with that. Please say, because we want to hear from you. We know you're out there. Now, Javieron is a world class gold copper project. I wonder how long until they say tier one, with a mineral resource of 8.4 million gold equivalent metal content. The independently reviewed base case set out in the competent person's report of the emission document estimates a 2.8 million tons per annum mining operation with an average annual production of 258 is that kilo ounces?
Yeah.
Gold equivalent at the lowest quartile in an all-sustaining cost globally of $818 per ounce of gold.
Now
I mean, that's a new
that's
figure. That
new
is a new figure.
information, as is the 20-year total mine life. So there was a 10-year total mine life. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. Pretty sure it was a 10-year total mine life in our PFS. So that is new market information. That should fucking get people looking. That's that now at double the mine life. It's, as we always expected, up to 3 megatons. It's not. It's 2.8. So these are the PFS numbers here in front of our face. Even though what he's now saying is, in my opinion, and again, just for discussion, but after reading this once, what he's now saying is this is what we have right now. What we've basically got our bank funding on, what we've done, what we've presented to the banks, what we've done this raise on. These numbers that you're looking at, okay? So they're still wonderful numbers. They're still much more than our PFS. It's double the mine life. At what were we, 723 beforehand? We're now 818. That's way under the 30% inflation cost curve that I've seen throughout other miners. So that's massive. I thought our all-in sustaining cost for Bavarian was going to go over 1,000. I really did. Just think of the margin at 3,000 gold, which I think we'll be at potentially at the end of next year, or even where we are now, or even if we got back to 1,800, it's still everything's more than a double margin, which, you know, a lot of these mines have been operating of 20, 30, 40%. They're, you know, looking at this over the next 5 years, can you see anything less than double as far as a profit margin goes on the all-in sustaining cost? That is saying for the next 15 years, in a steady state, we can keep our all-in sustaining costs at 818 for that mine, obviously. I mean, I'm flabbergasted by that. I really am. That is amazing. And what I think is brilliant is they're saying this is what we've bought Havarian on, and we bought it at a 40%, you know, accretive terms or discount for you.
Yeah.
And then later on, we're going to tell you that we're not going to release the PFS. You remember that PFS that Sean said he was weeks away from releasing when we all saw him at the town hall? And he said, yeah, no problem. You know, if we owned it all tomorrow, I could release it in 3 weeks. What he's now said is we bought the mine on these numbers, and now we're going to wait a year, and we're going to optimize, and we're going to consider block caving, I'm pretty sure, or bulk mining, I'm pretty sure there might be a conveyor consideration, the shaft consideration, all the things we've always hoped for that we can address to him hopefully next week. Oh man, I'm absolutely fucking thrilled.
He's here. He is here. If you're just joining us, welcome. He is here, Stu. I've had it confirmed directly by the company. Week commencing 23rd of September.
Yes, brilliant.
Now, given the fact that I believe the 30th of September is a really, really, really important date, I think that's the date that the shareholders have to agree, do the vote. Then Stu's gone. I don't know if he's gone, or if he's just gone. But yeah, I think the 30th. So he should be here soon. And now my wife is texting me, who is not anywhere near me because she had a little incident recently. So I'm just going to message her because she kind of broke her leg on holiday. So I best text her that I'm not going to be able to. Yeah, I reckon his phone died. I reckon he's now screaming and shouting that his phone died. So I'm just going to read on because I think that's probably the better thing to do while Stu sorts himself out and gets himself back up online. Where does it say that? The Greatland base case will be refined and optimised. Opportunities will be assessed in the feasibility study targeted to be completed within the next 12 months from acquisition completion, including potential mining throughput expansion using a bulk ore handling solution. They're going all in. No, she has not come back from Clacton. She is still in Essex. Thank you. The Greatland base case includes, this is for Telfer, a confident 15-month initial Telfer mine plan as set out in the competent persons report and the admission document. Really should read that competent persons report. And as such, a plan includes a production of 426 K ounces of gold equivalent at an estimated all-in sustained cost of $14.54 an ounce from the restart process and operations at Telfer, expected to occur in late September or October, which has the potential to generate significant near-term cash flow for the company, especially when the gold price is sat around $2,500. That's crazy. She is back tomorrow, by the way. Finally, this time tomorrow night. In parallel, the beer, a number of additional potential Telfer ore sources have already been drill tested and will be assessed with a view to extending the current Telfer mine plan. Liam, we will get a decision to mine as soon as we get the feasibility study, but I think we can safely say that we're going to have one of those. We couldn't have got this far for there not to be a decision to mine. But we have to go through it in that way. I've lost the PDF document because I just want to move it down a little bit. Consolidation of mine infrastructure and control. Telfer infrastructure substantially de-risks Javieron's development and provides expansion optionality. That's a Sean Day word. Acquisition of 100% ownership of the target assets gives Greatland the opportunity to optimize and develop an integrated Telfer Javieron mining and processing operation, which is good, really. In Sorry, I've just caught the chat and it says Liam texting his missus to say the way he's taken money out of the joint account. No, I have got to have that conversation. That conversation that I've just delayed is the conversation that I wanted to say, hey, you know that share that I've put tons of our money into, and you've said no more, you cannot tolerate me taking any more of our money and putting it in there for it to just sit there and not do anything whilst you still want your new bathroom that I promised you 3 years ago. Can I have some more? Because that's kind of the question I'm going with, because I can't help but feel, and this isn't a suggestion, it's something you do. This is not investment advice, but I think I'll be buying some more shares tomorrow morning. So, I shouldn't read the chat and try and talk to you and try and read. So I'll just keep going with that. Hopefully Stu will be back very, very soon. Tell her 4.8p. I know, right? So, Telfer's infrastructure substantially de-risks Javieron's development and provides expansion optionality. Acquisition of 100% ownership of the target asset gives Greatland the opportunity to optimize and develop the integrated Telfer Javieron mining operation. I feel like I've already said that. Newmont is expected to hold up 20.4%, there it is, of the enlarged group, with an initial 12-month voluntary lock-in. That's good. So they've essentially said, we're going to take 20% of your company, but we're not going to sell it for at least 12 months. That gives us some stability. A further 12-month orderly market arrangement, it is a relationship agreement in place to a firm alignment. So that means that if Newmont say, actually, we're done with this, we need to sell some shares, they can't just go sell the shares. They're actually going to drip feed them with Greatland's alignment, assistance, help, you know. So, sorry, I'm getting all sorts of comments. Here he comes. He's back.
All right, are we back?
You're back. Well done, buddy. I was just saying that Newmont's 20.4%. Not only is it 12-month lock-in, but it's also a further 12
Orderly
months
market.
of them doing it as an orderly market with Greatland's assistance.
Yeah.
And
I mean, the deal structure is a testament to our board. As we move further through it, it's incredibly well set up.
And Alex is telling me that I should be ignoring my wife and just going straight in for the retail offer tomorrow morning. Anyway, listen, but what this gives us, right? What this gives us is a clear pathway to Javieron development. And this, I think, is going to be the point the company are going to push, he says. Greatland has executed a non-legally binding bank debt letter of support for 750 million Australian dollars in proposed banking facilities for the development of Javieron. So straight away, so
they've scaled it as he said he would.
Yep.
And I must admit, that's a portion of this I didn't think would be included now. I thought they again would need that feasibility study. But I think what he's been able to give them is Newmont and Newcrest's feasibility study, which has been enough to get that loan on those terms. And now he said, and then now you wait for us as 100% owners to do our own over the next 12 months. That to me says second access consideration, conveyor rather than trucking consideration. I don't know, those of you who listen to Money of Mine, they seem to, as we always have known, trucking that amount of ore. What did Sean say? Trucking that amount of ore pays for an entire new processing plant over a 10-year period. And we've just seen there on the 2.8 megatons, we've got a 20-year mine period. And we all know that we're open in multiple directions. So if you drill it for a year and optimize that study and look at a conveyor and a second, this turns into a whole different thing. And do you know what enables that? Free cash flow from the 1st of October or when they restart the Telfer. This is something I didn't see coming. I did see coming, but I didn't think it would potentially
I didn't think we could get the stockpile. I didn't think we'd be able to just sort of run things straight away. And I do seriously believe we're much more nimble on that site. The West Dome and all these other bits are. We've bought a mine at the absolute middle of the bull market for gold.
Yeah.
Producing mine that anything we can turn into readily available ounces once we finish that stockpile, we can be a 450,000 ounce producer overnight. Who cares about the dilution? It'll be a distant memory if you can. I've got to think now because I'm a bit pissed that you can't buy in your ISA. I think it's bullshit. Like, why can't you subscribe in an ISA?
I'm probably the worst person to ask about that one.
I've got money. Well, not money ready. I sold my crypto miners, who sadly haven't done very well over the last little while. But I sold all of that, today in anticipation. And the moment I saw the deal and I saw the price, I went, okay, fine. We've got time. Thank goodness they didn't do till 9:30 the same evening. I've been in shares where they've done that before. Did GDP do that before? Where it was the same night? What was the last retail offer?
Oh no, there was one where it was like
wasn't it?
bang, boom, done. Yeah,
It
no.
was that evening, like sort of by 12 o'clock, come up with a bunch of money to wire to someone.
Yeah.
It was all a bit. So I'll see. That's something I want to look at because, yes, obviously it's a great price. And of course, I want to buy GGP at 4.8. I don't really have the money, but I've liquidated the miners. But I also don't really want to pull money out of an ISA to put in a fund and share account in order to buy these. Why, if I can buy them through a fund and share account mechanism, why can't I buy them with existing cash in my ISA? It's just a trade. So I'd be interested for somebody to tell me why, if they know. I'll be phoning HL in the morning to find out.
It's very interesting. I believe there's information coming from HL tomorrow morning that I have seen. Alexander Archer's asking, how much remedial work does Telfer need? Here's the interesting part. Newmont have been spending millions of dollars on it over the last 12 months. And the person that I've been speaking to recently has said that if anyone found something that wasn't quite right, they were change that, get that sorted. And so any remedial work now, that thing's good for a good 10 years or so, including heavy maintenance that needed doing at some point over the next couple of years. So Telfer is as good as it's going to be for a long time.
Mines have to have shutdown periods. They have to have scheduled maintenance. They have to have, a lot of things that is very difficult when you've literally got cash pouring out at one end and you got to go, we'll switch off the cash. Like imagine a tap, cash pouring out, we'll switch off the tap. No matter how long you got to switch it off, the whole village goes mad. Yeah. So I think we're missing the fact that you've had a willing seller here who didn't want to injure a buyer and injure their reputation, and also had heaps and heaps of cash at an all-time high gold price to just make sure that they weren't selling a lemon. They've demonstrated that by buying 20% of us and giving deferred payments, right? It's a huge endorsement.
Oh, the producer's about to step in. He says that's not remedial work. Unless I've got it wrong.
It's care and maintenance, but I think remedial work's the tailings dam. And
that's almost finished. The tailings dam's almost finished.
I think also the other thing that people got to realize is, so what I don't know, and please, as I say, I've run into this hot. I've read only this RNS we're going through now, nothing else. Have we got any other tenements? Have we got O'Callaghan's? We do,
and the royalty stuff that goes with it.
Yes,
1.5%, I believe.
What about the joint ventures? Antipa and IGO.
Yeah. And not only have we got Antipa, but someone said on Hot Copper last night that whoever gets that also is entitled to a seat at the Antipa table.
Well, depending, yes, but it looks like there's a director spot. I was reading that as well. Have we got it? Is that confirmed? Because I haven't read any of that.
I've not got that far, mate. No, literally, like
it's got to keep reading, but I mean that'll be.
But when you look at the footprint, right? We definitely get the JV. We definitely get the footprint that we've now got is massive.
The heritage clearances, the airports, the gas pipelines.
Whole lot. Someone's saying, oh, there you go. Antipa, O'Callaghan, Wilkie. Winu, not quite just yet. That comes in phase 2, I reckon. That's what we're going to need some money for, Winu. But that's another issue to have next week.
We are now Newcrest in the Patterson.
Yeah. Now, I wondered, right, if the reason why there's a bit of a delay is because what they're going to do is this money that's now going to start falling out of Telfer, if they're actually going to use it to build... I've got to stop reading what The producer says.
I'm not reading the comments. Maybe I should.
No, it's it's our producer. He's messaging me directly. So
I need to get
train
on
of thought's gone. What was it?
Am I in that chat? And then I can get the producer too.
No idea. I've forgotten what I was saying. Oh, that was it. I remember now. So the money that's coming out of Telfa, I wondered if they actually could spend some money on infrastructure at Javieron to streamline that process. Imagine if they had some extra crushers or extra bits and bobs that meant that the ore that was going to Telfa was already pre-processed.
Yeah. And I think that's the key here. I think that what this just, oh man, I'm not going to sleep tonight. Just because
No.
I think it opens up so much optionality that was never there. We had this idea in our head that we were going to be doing X, and feasibly now
Can you feed him, please?
we can be earning
Sorry,
a
thank you.
lot of money straight away, free cash flow, and then we've got the 750 million bank debt facility to build the mine. We can optimize it. We can put a second decline in. We can even decide, well, we're breaking even with the free cash flow from Telfa if, let's say, gold continues where it is or goes to 3,000, and go, let's spend the 2 years building another processing plant at Javieron just for the copper. Or do you know what I mean? The optimization ability when you have free cash flow. We were always up against it. We were always waiting for that moment we had free cash flow, and then we could use that little bit and start the payback period and use the debt and start mucking in. This is totally and utterly different because Telfa's profitable with us at the helm. And
Imagine what they could do. Let's just throw you a curveball. Imagine what they could do with drilling out Ernest Giles.
I don't really want to.
No, but do
don't
you know
really
what I
want
mean?
them
It's
to.
going to unlock so much potential, and not just there, anywhere in the Patterson that just adds more gold to the pile, or copper, or whatever else.
I think that it's just huge, and with the laser focus, you've got a big corporate before that's proportioning money to all of these tier 1 deposits across the globe, and now you've got someone who just wants to focus in one area and owns 100% of it.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's really, really good. There's so many questions coming through, and so the first question to you, Stu, is: Would you be worried if Sean Day this week says, "And when we list on the ASX, we're going to consolidate"?
Why would I be worried?
I don't know. Someone's asking it in chat.
10-to-1 consolidation or something like that.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
No, firstly, I think by 2025 we'll be well ahead of that price anyway, the 11p listing price. So I don't think it would be like a requirement, like at the moment it would be. So at the moment I wouldn't be surprised because it's a requirement. So if you suddenly said we want to list by the end of the year or by tomorrow, then we probably would have to. No, I'm not worried. I think we're now imagine buying Newmont and their shares are 7 pence.
Yeah, I mean that's essentially what it is, isn't it?
Buying quality. How much is a Tesla share? How much is an Apple share? How much is a Newmont share? $50 a share. It's a minor. We're 7 pence. If we consolidate 10-to-1 and we're over $1, I think anything over £1 or an Australian dollar, that getting up to 7, 8, 10, then you could be any big company. But I think there's a reason they call them penny stocks. I think if you're moving and like Sean wants to into strength, with the news that we have coming up, with all the amount of, the multitude of things we could be saying. There's news now from Telfa, there's news now from all of our JVs, there's news from Javieron, there's news on the decline, there's news on the feasibility study, there's news from every corner you want to look at. So, I think they can choose their moment. And by the sounds of things, considering we've got the debt portion here as well, which wasn't mentioned in the news articles yesterday,
Well, why you
we don't need to
Newmont?
raise. It doesn't need to be an IPO. It could be a compliance listing.
Newmont has 1.15 billion shares in issue, and that's it.
Yes, and I think you're gonna want to look at that. How many are we going to have an issue now? 10 billion.
13.
We've basically doubled, I would assume, just from reading. If I were to just put a figure on it, I reckon.
Yeah, I think it's around 17. I could do with that being fact checked, but Costa's just said 13 billion. So we could 10-to-1, and we get to somewhere near what Newmont has. to be taken. And that's the thing, though, isn't it? Because the minute you say penny stocks, a lot of people go, "Whoa, I'm not touching that. Not touching a penny stock."
Yeah.
And you don't want that.
Let's say we get up to 15, 14, 18p by March or whenever we want to list over there. Do you want to be listing on the ASX again as 18p? No, £1.80. Yeah, that's and I think things will move just the same way. If you're doing that into strength, riding a wave of gold prices, we can announce so much different news. Oh, we found this, or we optimized this, or it's just good news from here on out, hopefully without any black swans, of course. And there's obviously the next tailings dams could fail and we could have 180 million hole somewhere that we didn't plan for. Those unknowns are surely there. Hopefully we bought some insurance for some of those things.
Now here's the important part. If I may move on, unless you're gonna, if you got anything else to talk about. Oh, this beer has been very gassy. Greatland considers that there is a significant upside opportunity as a result of the acquisition, including potential extension of the current Telfer mine plan, optimization of Javieron throughput potential and Telfer processing capacity, supplementation of Javieron ore with Telfer ore, and here it is, ladies and gentlemen. So we've already talking about Javieron, we've already talking about Telfer, and now we're going to talk about a potential regional hub and spoke strategy enabled by the Telfer infrastructure. They are not just going for Javieron ore and Telfer ore. There is more to come from the area. Yeah. That is exactly what that says in black and white. Do you agree or disagree?
Yeah, I mean, this is the base case. It's amazing. I'm so interested to see what happens tomorrow. I mean, I didn't really, I thought my money was on Monday. I knew it would be quick, and my money was on early October to actually have the deal done. That I thought that would be pretty short order. But yeah, opening up tomorrow. Ray's not done yet. Are people gonna sell up and rebuy? It's going to be interesting to see.
My own hypothesis is the market makers want to cash in on this. The market makers are the ones that need to make the money, so they will absolutely plunge this tomorrow, and it will just go. It will free fall, and they will take it down.
I wonder where it will open. I don't care, but I wonder where.
No, I reckon they'll start at the top, and they will just systematically, as they do, just suck it down, and they will just look for all those people that are scared in the sell. And you know how they do, like you just see it, don't you? Just tick, 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 and they'll be looking for sellers.
I'm not sure this is gonna. My experience in AIM tells me this always goes back to the placing price. That's my experience in AIM. But you're looking there. What's been shown is a 30% discount for a 40% increase. So it's not a discount. We should go up by 10%.
I'm laughing.
Just really looking in simple percentage terms, we are all officially 10% better off than we were, but we're not. We're hundreds of percent better off than we ever were if you even just give this a short while out from where we are. So I really don't know. If my money's on it, I think they will drop us no lower than 5.8.
Just to Costa's come up and said, there's a gap at 4.8p on the weekly.
I knew he would. Where is he? Where the fuck is he? He's been waiting. We haven't even heard from Costa for. I love you, Costa. Damn your gap. He was talking about this gap 2 years ago, and obviously we were laughing, saying there's never getting that filled. Never in a million fucking years. And what is it? It's at 4.8 as well, isn't it? It's somewhere around there. 4.8, 4.5. Yeah. No, Costa, we are not filling that goddamn gap, sir.
So once we filled it tomorrow, but I think this is elastic band. This is a very quick, because people are going to want to, if they can't get in on the placing, they are going to be looking to get in on the quick now. And the minute that hits 4.8, you're just going to see so many people pile in.
So that's me, and I've always been brutally honest with everyone. I had 20% in miners, and I took a bit of profit and bought back in. But at the moment, I think I've made no money in miners, but I haven't lost too much. And even though we've just had a bit of a crash, I lost my paper profits. Today, when I saw the RNS come out, I sold that 20%. So I've got that now in cash in my ISA and pension. So it'll be interesting. My strategy now, I've got to go away and think. I don't have them. All mine's in my ISAs and pensions. I don't want to go. I don't want to pull that money out and buy it for a retail offer. How do I get it back into my ISA? So no, I don't know. I'm going to have to be, for the first time ever, Christ, if it does drop to there and I get into placing price, I'd be amazed. Actually, I should probably set some orders and hope for the best, right?
I genuinely think it'll be a short thing. Like this is the elastic band ping-back, isn't it? I've
I
said
might
it for a
even
while.
do that. Sorry, I'm talking about finances, but online,
Oh.
but I shouldn't. But I might even do that. I might even just set the whole lot at the placing price and see if maybe an just goes, yeah, fuck it.
Producer says, please read your DMs. Your ISA is okay.
Ah, well, oh no, you're joking. It is. I can buy my ISA. Where's producer? Where's he?
It should be under R. So in connection with the acquisition, I think that's where we're at. No. Following the
detail offer document, investors wishing to apply for new ordinary shares should contact their investment platform, retail broker, or wealth manager for details of their terms and conditions and process, including for using their ISA, SIP, or GIA, and any relevant fees or charges. Oh my goodness, Gaga, I love you. I've met you at the town hall. You wonderful gentleman. Actually, I walked you back to Tower Bridge, if I'm not mistaken. You gent. So if he's to be believed, you can subscribe in your ISA and your pension. I'm in heaven.
All right, now you're gonna see some shit get real on Stu's end. Listen, approximately 325 million institutional placing is underwritten by Canaccord Genuity Limited, with support of up to 100 million by Wyloo Consolidation Investments. Following completion of the acquisition, the operating strategy for the enlarged group is to renew and develop an integrated Telfer Havieron, have I done this bit already? Mining processing operation to create a generational Australian gold copper mining complex. Generational. The last generational one, was that not Kalgoorlie?
Pretty much. I mean,
I could be wrong. I'm spitballing. I'm guessing. I'm just trying to
anything that's
sensationalize
generational, you know, that's spanning your folks and you and maybe your children. So I mean, you know, we all know that when you drill this out, this is 30 to maybe 40 years. Telfer's been going 40 years. We hypothesize this is 20 to 30 million ounces. If you're like me and you'd rather just know everything about one thing, this is just the best news in the world. If you own 450 different shares and this is just one of them, you're not going to be as excited as I am. But if you want dividends and you're sitting here for the long period, like this just couldn't be better. We've actually pulled it off. I genuinely don't care what the price is at all.
Doesn't matter anymore, does it?
At all.
It doesn't matter. Free cash flow, baby.
There's every single Northern Star and 6x, 8x, 9x mining operation you've ever seen was started off the crumbs of a major. And I think this, in the sands of time, is going to be seen as one of the best deals anyone's been able to pull off. It really is phenomenal. And anyone who's ever moaned about our board, you just read this over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So continue. So this equity raising, where are you? Equity raising overview.
Yeah. I was just going to say, no, actually, the bit above that, actually, within the approximately 6 months from acquisition completion, Greatland intends to undertake a listing under the enlarged group on the Australian Securities Exchange, following which the enlarged group would be both listed on ASX and AIM. So, there were some questions earlier about what the enlarged group encompassed, but essentially what you need to remember is GGP PLC is the absolute top of that, with what would be the Australian version of it with the cross listing.
Yeah. And I think we cutting right to the chase, all the highlights are how much we've bought it for, the fact that we can subscribe at 4.8p in our ISA. Thank you, Sean. Well done, because I won't lie, when I read about all those big wigs putting their hands in for their $400,000 subscription, I'm very glad there's no warrants attached here. Very glad, from what I've read so far, there's no warrants anywhere. But the directors and the board have been able to get in cheap and then cheaper and then cheaper. The fact that we've been able to, or by the sounds of things, able to participate here is incredible. That's the big bitch here. I know it sucks for people who were wanting to get out next month and thought it was going to go to 13p tomorrow on the announcement. that's not great, but I think it will be like a spring. I think it'll be no trade to buy. They'll drop it down. You'll see those numbers on your screen. You'll be clicking buy, and it'll be going no quote, no quote, no quote, no quote. And like you say, I think it'll spring straight back up. It's interesting though, because we've got a day trading before the retail offer finishes, don't we? A whole day. Retail offer finishes on the 12th. Unless my watch is wrong. Tomorrow's the 11th, right?
Tomorrow is the 11th, absolutely. I'm just feeling excited. We've got Wendy Ward in the audience this evening, Stu. I've met Wendy a few times. Hi, Wendy. Good evening. Always good to see people that you know appearing there. And Ian makes a great point, right? And this is what
no warrants.
This is what people the genuine holders of great need to remember. There are now going to be people out there desperately trying to rip those shares out of your hands. They will come up with every nefarious trick in the book to tell you the shit's going down, the things are going wrong, and that you've got to sell.
I'm not sure how they can with this, Liam, to be honest.
No,
just fact check them. Is the pricing price. That's the only thing they can say. They can go a 30% discount, and you could just turn around and say, no, it was a 10%. It was a 10% loading. We got 1.4 for every share we owned, and then they took 0.3 of that off. So it's accretive.
It is. We've already kicked one person out of our chat group today because they tried it.
Oh, did they? Oh gosh, I haven't read the 600 messages at all.
No, it's gone now. I deleted it, but it wasn't very nice, and it slated us as.
Well, I think this is where I had my bit of a wobble when my friend phoned me and said he wanted to put quite a lot of his inheritance in because there was news in 2 weeks. And I knew what he wanted to do, and I said, "But why?" And he was like, "Because I think it's gonna go up 100%. Then I can take my money back and run away." And I said, "But what if it goes down 50% first?" And he was like, "Well, no, but there's news, and you've said it's going to be an amazing news. It'll be transformational." I'm a long-term investor. I'm going to be here. I've been here for 7 years. I'm going to be here for another 7 years. I'm looking at the overall picture. Yes, there's news, and yes, I think it's going to be amazingly good for us. But my good doesn't necessarily translate into a 10p or a 13p share price tomorrow. No, I think what was my guess? My guess was 9.2. So I was way off the mark anyway, as far as because tomorrow's the closing price for the box of Freddos, right? So
it has to be because it can't be today. Yeah, because we've already closed. Not everyone would know about the box of Freddos, but anyway,
tomorrow's the first day of trading when the deal's out. So. Yeah, I think. In fact, I think somebody threw out a stupid one like 5.8, and I think he's going to win it.
Now, listen. In connection with the acquisition, the company intends to conditionally place an ordinary shares at 4.8p per placing share for a total of £248 million.
That's massive.
It's a huge placing, isn't it?
It's on market cap.
Yeah. They're just going for that boom, of which that's like 325 million US.
And what did they value us at for that? So to the pre-announced undisturbed price at the 6th of September, which we were about 7p, weren't we?
Yeah, we've not moved too much. We've not moved too much over the week.
So that's by the sounds of things that what they would have diluted us by at that value, and then given the 30%. So it's obviously 30% on the 4.8, so about 7.
Yeah. And as it says, I'm not going to read all this word for word verbatim, but it pretty much says accelerated book build available to qualifying investors who will be launched immediately following the release of this announcement in accordance to the terms and conditions set out in the appendix, blah, blah, blah. Certain directors of the company are intending to participate in the placing by subscribing for up to, I guess that's 400,000. I don't know why they said 0.4 million in aggregate at the issue price.
By the way, or is the price?
Thank you. In addition to the placing, retail investors will have the opportunity to participate by a conditional offer for subscription, blah, 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 for 8 million. Why does that say euros?
It's a strange one, isn't it? Do you know why? I think it's because we are still regulated by. Do you remember when Sean said the last time that there was some weird thing where it had to be, that was the maximum they were allowed to do? It was capped, and it's to do with European law. And I think anytime you're subscribing something like this, you had to go through that. And I think that's why we're in euros. I think that is when we'll ask him next week or when he comes over.
That.
I think that is the maximum, literally the maximum you're allowed to offer
in a 12-month period as well, isn't it?
Period, I think, yeah.
So that straight away tells you there's going to be no more placings that we have to take part in, right?
Yes.
So anyway, 6.8 million
I
quid.
hope we won't need one after this, right?
No, definitely not.
We can do a compliance listing now. We don't need an IPO for the ASX. And if anything, God forbid, does go wrong, we can do an IPO. So we've future-proofed the hell out of this. We're good without it. And if anything goes wrong, we can easily raise more with an IPO rather than a cross-listing.
The retail offer is expected to close at 4:45 on the 12th of September and may close early if it's oversubscribed. I've got a sneaky suspicion it might be a bit tough to get some shares.
Well, it's certainly going to be subscribed, and I want to know immediately how we get in tomorrow. I don't even want to go to work.
I know, right? The placing shares have been offered by way of... So I did that bit. I did that bit too. Pursuant to the placing, the retail offer, the company intends to conditionally raise up to $338 million by using an obscene number of shares. The proceeds of that raising will be used to finance $155 million US for the acquisition consideration and a repayment of debt, which is always nice to clear off your books, isn't it? And
that was another contingency for me. You can't start this out as your launch asset and have overhang. You want to clear the slate. You want to see the words fully funded in a deal like this. You want to see the words debt repaid in a deal like this. Now our destiny is in our control. For the first time in any GGP shareholders' history of investing here, we now have the keys and we are now driving the truck.
Absolutely. Sorry, just catching up on that. So paying 52 million of the joint venture loan, which is good to see, and 7.1 million Aussie dollars working capital to Wailu. The stamp duty payable by the company on acquisition needs to be paid for, as well as payment of transactional costs and expenses in connection to it, and the raising and all the other bits and bobs that go with basically running a business. Canaccord's doing it in connection with the equity raising. Merrill Lynch Markets Australia. Merrill Lynch, have they been about before? Have we seen or heard from them before? Merrill Lynch?
Not a lot, to be honest. No.
And Simmons LLP is acting as legal advisor in relation to the raising. That's fine. There's all sorts of names and stuff there. Basically, that paragraph basically tells you who's involved, whose fingers are in the pie, and who you can trust. Because the leak didn't leak until the very last minute. I thought they kept that under wraps very, very well. Robin wants to know, what does it matter if on ASX alone? It means that a lot of people in the UK will struggle to sell their shares. Unless I'm misreading that. I really shouldn't. Settlement of the equity raising admission of the ordinary shares issued is conditional upon, and here's the thing, here's your risk. Conditional upon company shareholders approving the acquisition and issue of the shares. This deal does not happen unless the Greatland shareholders agree to it. Now just think of that. All this excitement Stu's just had for the last, I don't know how long we've been on for, hour and 7 minutes.
Someone's just killed it, because in the chat, Stu SDR says you cannot use an ISA to buy. You can only bid an ISA from your trading account.
Yeah, I'd look at what HL have said. I appreciate he said that, but I
haven't seen anything yet. But I'm going to reserve my excitement, because if I can't buy my I can't buy, so that sucks.
You'll get angry with somebody on the end of the phone at HL tomorrow morning. So yeah, basically this is the risk. The Greatland shareholders have to agree to this, and if they do not agree to it, the deal doesn't happen. You go back to being a 30% owner of Javier, and that is it. And then you want to watch what the share price does.
It'll be a landslide, yeah. We won't say it's a zero possibility, but
no. But so it's not a given. There is still risk associated with this. A general meeting of the company's shareholders will be convened. I'm not saying that word. To a notice containing the admission document for 10 o'clock on the 30th of September 2024. What am I doing that day? That's the first question. I bet I'm at bloody work. I'm not at work. Woohoo! That's all right then. The admission of the shares issued is expected to occur shortly after 8 a.m. on the 1st of October. So almost 24 hours later, that'll be it. Boom. The acquisition constitutes a reverse takeover under AIM rules. So we discussed this yesterday, I think, and it's because we're buying a company. it's a bigger market cap than what we've got, and therefore it's a reverse takeover, which is why we've done what we've done.
And I think the
So
key
that's
here
fine.
for any shareholders, again, most of us are SIP and ISA and so on. If they delisted from London and they did what people on Hot Copper and others have alluded to, and went only to an Australian listing, you would have that awful situation like Lion, Tally, and others. That means you get delisted, and that your money would go out of your ISA. I mean, it's the unthinkable. It really is the unthinkable if you're someone like me who's built that ISA up over decades, and now this is proven that is not happening. There it is in black and white. It says that we will readmit and relist our name, so it will only ever be a dual listing. Your money is safe in the ISA. That's the other thing, along with fully funded and a few other bits that I'm needed to see in this release.
We, said Sean Day, are delighted to be combining the Javier and Telfer projects under a single ownership, making Greatland a material producer of gold and copper. Through constructive, I'm going to guess that's bilateral, discussions with Newmont, our joint venture partner at Javieron, we now have a compelling opportunity to create value for our shareholders. Javieron is a truly world-class ore body with defined pathway to becoming a low-cost, long-life gold-copper asset of significant scale. The acquisition of Telfer with a defined mine plan that is materially de-risked with substantial ore stockpiles and significant mine life extension prospects provides us the opportunity to take advantage of present gold market strength. Telfer production is expected to generate free cash flow, which we expect to help self-fund the Javieron development. I mean...
Self-fund
the Javieron development. I mean...
So then what's the 750 million debt for?
I don't even want to guess at this stage, because that's the question that you've just said. It's helping self-fund the development, but you've also just said you've got a 750 million debt facility sitting there waiting to be used. Brilliant.
Sounds about right for a block cave to me.
The acquisition will allow Greatland to finalise and complete Javieron feasibility study to determine the optimal mining throughput rate and development plan to deliver maximum value from the project by leveraging the existing Telfer infrastructure. We also look forward to integrating experienced and knowledgeable existing workforce into the Greatland team. We have debt-funded support for our plans from a syndicate of leading banks and the cornerstone shareholders that are supporting the equity placement being launched today. The capital raising has been structured to allow our shareholders to participate, and that's almost... I think, I don't know how to word this, and I could word this wrong, so apologies if I do. I don't think they necessarily had to ask us for money. Did they really need 8 million from us?
They should be raising how many hundreds of millions? Do you think they need the 8 million euros?
So in some ways, they're like...
Unfortunately, these days, the 8 million euros is probably the salary cost for the year. So
yeah,
we're paying the salaries for the next year.
Well, I tell you what it is, mate. It's covering that debt for Wailu. That's what we're paying off. We're paying off the Wailu. And I mean, I actually think somewhere it says what our money is actually going to be used for.
And the debt to Wailu, if I'm not mistaken, is the part of what we've drawn down plus interest of the 50 million they loaned us.
Yeah.
And the 50 million of Newcrest is spent plus 2.5 on top of it for interest.
Yeah. The capital raising has been allowed to allow shareholders to participate, which is, is I suppose we should be thankful we're getting allowed to get in at this price. And we hope they share our excitement in this transformational step in creating an ambitious new gold and copper producer in an exceptional and established Australian mineral province. And I'm not gonna lie, there's been a few people today, myself included, that have gone through the stages of grief over this. My first reaction, as Stu, as I'm sure you know exactly what's happened, especially when there's a placing involved, I can't hide my thoughts, I can't hide my emotions, I don't get to keep them inside, they come straight out. And I'm glad that Torum and Choddy were around, because they gave me a bloody good shake. And helped me realise...
Well, it's easy. As a retail investor, you read down and you just go, okay, they've had to raise a shit ton of money. How much? What do you mean it's at 4.8p? It was at 6.9 this afternoon. Why didn't I see this coming? Why didn't I set out to rebuy? Why didn't I? Why didn't I? But I hope to God, if you're here now, you're either one of the poor sods who bought in on the rumors in the last 2 weeks. We all knew news was coming, and it was almost certain to be in these 2 weeks. But the rumors are what often makes people pull the trigger, because those people want to come in and go in a month or in a day even. And they're not the people we want in the share anyway, because they're not long-term investors, and they will get burned, and they will have got burned, unfortunately, those people. Now, hopefully, they'll have to become long-term investors like us.
Well,
I don't think we'll spend very long down there at all.
No, I bought some last week. I bought some. I was like 6.8p. That's a steal. That's lower than my average. I'll take that.
I moved a bit of the crypto ones as they were going down. I was like, no. I want this money back in GGP. So I moved probably a bit more than I wanted to back in. Yes, I've got a little bit aside, which was always my risk management. And as of tomorrow, if I can buy my ISA, I'll be 100% GGP again at that price, because I think by the 1st of October, I think we'll be well above where we are now, 7p.
No, I'd love to think so. I'd love to think so, which means I'm back in.
Once this actually goes through and the vote goes through, there's still uncertainty now. And so, the vote, all that, once it's gone through, it's 1st of October, then that's when I think the re-rate begins.
I think what you'll find out tomorrow is how much people think about that uncertainty. If they're really uncertain, there won't be much action tomorrow morning on the share with volume. But I think if there is actually a lot of people wanting that, then I think you'll see the share price go nuts, and L2 Andy's going to have a job in his hands. The net proceeds of the retail offer will be used for general working capital purposes, while the net proceeds of the placing will be used to fund part of the acquisition. That's just come through from the producer. Cheers, buddy. Now,
so here's interesting, because again, like I just hypothecated a second ago, we're paying their salaries for next year.
Yeah.
Basically, working capital.
Now, here's the part where I just read it a moment ago and thought, holy shit, we were right. The consolidation, this is Mark Barnaba now. Our boy Mark is doing some work. The consolidation of 100% ownership of Javier on an acquisition of Telfa is the opportunity which Greatland has been coveting for the last 3 years.
Yeah. 3
years. No, not last year when Newmont went, yeah, we're selling this. 3 years. Yeah. When Sean Day...
Which goes all the way back pretty much to the coffee shop meeting with Mark, doesn't it?
Yep. I've got this idea.
Anybody even knew Newmont were in the frame for Newcrest.
And RA says
he knew.
Yeah, and I've just outed the producer. The producer says, and that's why the directors haven't bought any time, because they've been waiting for this moment. This is their buy moment.
Of course.
They are putting in to it.
And don't forget, this doesn't cancel out their options.
No. On behalf of Greatland, I extend my sincere gratitude to the Newmont team for the collaborative approach. And we warmly welcome Newmont as a future major shareholder of Greatland and continue our strong working relationship with them. We also extend our thanks to Wailu as a cornerstone investor of the equity raising in support of the acquisition. This is a transformation deal for Greatland shareholders, and I need to flip the page. We're excited to see our business develop to become a major Australian gold and copper producer. I'm not going to read the next bit because that looks like a lot of waffle for the sake of waffle, unless you disagree with me.
Yeah, that's just basically saying all the directors all of their shares, they've already irrevocably voted in favour.
Oh, is that what? Oh, well, we probably should cover that then, because it's quite important.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, unless that's what it says. I mean, that's basically, is that what it says?
I don't know. I just glanced at it and thought you were moving on, but I think that's
actually no. Here is what I suppose exactly what it says, Stu. That they will vote or will procure that the relevant registered holders vote in favour of the revolution to be proposed at the general meeting.
40 million ordinary shares, which representing an aggregate. So that's a bit of a fucking slap in the face. I won't lie. We're in favour of this. We own less than 1% of the company we control, but we're in favour of this. That's a very small insider ownership.
Makes you wonder who has the
very small. We have
because at the moment, do we
way more than that in shares just in our group. In
fact, I think this is the key part here, Stu. If those shares don't get admitted until after the vote, at the moment the PI we've got the cards.
Yes, we do, and also that only says directors, so I don't think that includes Borelli and board members. It's just the directors. So it's just Sean and the other directors. I don't think Borelli's got what 35 mil by himself. So yeah, I think
nearly as many as me.
there's no worries in as far as that. And then let's receive the rest. So 430 million ordinary shares, again irrevocable undertaking from Wailu,
Yeah.
representing approximately 8.5 million, which is interesting. So they can't vote. Of course, they can't vote in favor with their new shares. They don't have them yet.
No, they don't have them yet. This is the point. So the PI and the last votes that we've had, we've managed to get about 1 billion votes cast. And that's what I'm going for again this time. I am going to go full tilt on making sure people know exactly how they can vote. I can't tell you how to vote. I don't think that's the right thing to do. You can ask me what I'm voting. I guess I can tell you. I don't think there's anything wrong in that. But we can't tell you how to vote. No. Yes, I have produced it. That's been discussed already. Thank you very much. But we do have already on ggphelp.co.uk, not GGP chat, so ggphelp.co.uk, there is a section where, actually, no, it might be on GGP chat now. GGP chat. Check out GGP chat. We have already written how to vote. Those exist for multiple different brokers. So we'll make sure that's updated.
I found was really easy. I control the whole family, so I got the wife and the kids' ISAs and some family friends and members, and
you get an email from IG.
Sent them one email, and I said, I want you to vote in favour across all resolutions across all of my linked accounts, and they did it across everyone's account, not just my own one. So I didn't actually have to send individual messages, so they were pretty good with it.
Yeah. So we'll make sure that the community knows how to vote, and to get another 1 billion votes over the line would be awesome. That's what we really want to do.
Should we quickly run through the primary bid?
That probably wouldn't hurt. I don't even think I've looked at that document.
That's the one I haven't read or opened or seen yet.
Let me stop sharing. There we go. So it's just me and Stu now. I will close that, and I will.
Yeah, that's the part I haven't
read.
Let's read some of the comments here and see where we were. Oh gosh, there's a lot more comments. Okay. Stuart Hines in the house. Speak with us in the morning. Okay, so we've got Costa in here. Okay, so the gap is 5.2 to 5.4. It fills at 5.2. The gap is an imbalance in volume. So there we go. So I'll go with Costa. I think the lowest is going to go down is to 5.2. I'll set my order for there. If your broker is not a primary bid list, you can still buy direct with primary bid, okay? HL will issue application forms in the morning, it says. Actus Ray will be wanting to close that short. Yeah, or maybe not. I mean, can they find a way of getting in the back door at 4.8p?
Baz's question's an interesting one. Does anyone know how to buy at 4.8p? The only way you can do, if you can't get in on this placing, you've got to hope the market goes to 4.8p and that you're there at the right time to get those shares. It is a game of, I don't know if it's a game of luck, because it might go there and there might be millions of shares available if people have sold enough shares. But if there's not many shares to be had, I mean, it all comes down to it, doesn't it? It all comes down to what the sellers want to do, who wants to give shares away.
Yeah. Just reading some more comments. Engage your audience, please. Sorry, Stu.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'd got the producer covering up most of the chat, so I couldn't see half of what it was saying.
Yeah, so Greatland will become the ASX parent company. Read the next paragraphs, Liam. So yeah, so what's it saying there? All right, so let's do the primary bid. And I'm at the bottom of the comments now. So sorry, the re-admin document. Robin Ranson is saying. No comments from Bamps or Paddy yet that I've seen, but I'm not really plugged in. Let me see if I can get on X.
Currently becoming okay. Oh, wrong one. It's really hard. That's because the screen that you're all seeing is on the screen that I'm using for the production, but actually the one that I'm using as a mouse is on that side, which is why I keep getting confused. The retail offer by primary bid. Greatland announces a conditional offer for subscription of new ordinary shares via primary bid, which actually I've used before and is really quite a simple system. I quite like it.
Oh,
The
really?
issue price, the issue price for the new ordinary shares is 4.8p, representing a discount of approximately 30% for the closing mid price of the company's existing shares on the 6th of September, which was suspended on the 9th. So do you think they suspended it yesterday because they knew that the price could very quickly go up, and they really didn't need it to go up with the fact that there was a placing coming at 4.8p? Is that fair?
Yes, I mean, I think if this leak had got out, if somebody got certain details, they were thinking if that 4.8p got out, it could have crashed yesterday, and yeah, that wouldn't be a good look.
No.
Yeah, you just don't know. My experience tells me you're right. It's going to fill the gap at 5.2 before we come up, and then we might be in limbo until the deal goes through on the 1st. But I just don't know. It's disappointing from that perspective because yes, I was thinking we'd be up in the 8s, 9s, 10s, and quite quickly back up to sort of 13.8 in the first couple of days of trading, weeks maybe. Looks like that's probably just extended out to 2 or 3 months to get up to those sort of levels and get everything done and dusted and put through. But I'm more than happy with what I now own long term.
See, if I'm pretty sure Stephen O is the same Stephen O in Telegram, and he's done a lot of work today working things out, and he's just said here, hence 4.8p. It's not a real number. We could have placed at 7p, but the asset would have been more expensive. Newmont and Wiley get their taste, and on we go. It's almost like it's not really relevant. I think that's basically what he was saying earlier. It really does not bear any relevance.
Yeah, and he's right. It's almost like looking at inflation, or this is how the governments sort of fool us. 4.8p is the new 7.1p.
Yeah,
they are one in the same, as far as what we own, and as far as market cap and all of those things go. We will. Yeah, it's a difficult one to get your head around, but you've got to remember that is still hundreds of percent undervalued. And that value will now be realized in short order. In 1 year, the news we have coming out, this just goes on and on and on. There's no debt. We've got a base. That will be the base. That's the absolute bottom.
At some point, they've got to announce how much profit we made. Whoops. That sucks. The retail offer is available to both existing shareholders and new investors, and investors can take part through primary bids, extensive network of retail brokers, wealth managers, and investment platforms, subject to them participating. There is a list somewhere. There is a minimum subscription, 250 notes per investor in the retail offer. And then it talks about the 30% discount at 4.8p.
And then right, it ends on the 12th. When does it say it ends? So, condition upon approval by existing shareholders.
Sorry, I'm moving around a bit much now. There you go. Yeah, I'll just read it. So the price doesn't mind. There it is. The retail offer is conditional on approval by the existing company's shareholders. Resolution 1 set out in the company's notice of the meeting, general meeting held at the Simmons & Simmons LLP, City Point, Ropemaker Street, London. Who knows what that is? I wonder if that'll be televised.
I'll be there in person, I think.
Good lad. On the 30th of September 2024, the retail offer is further conditional on the new ordinary shares to be issued on the 1st of October, which we've already discussed. The retail offer will not be completed without the placing being completed. The retail offer will not be completed.
My understanding is that money's not placed yet.
So they'll take the money on the 1st of October.
I don't think we've already raised that money. I think there's still a book build going on in the background for institutions, just like there will be for retail investors.
I wonder if any of those institutions would be Australian.
Yeah, definitely.
Like if we know, I mean, I don't suppose they can sell the shares on the ASX. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's just say company, I don't know, company beer, for the want of a better word, want to buy shares on Greatland. Could they?
Sean's savvy. I think it's one of those where you're allowed to, but it's complicated. If Sean's been able to go there and guarantee an ASX listing within a year, they'd be able to. There's definitely, I guarantee when we speak to him, there's going to be some cornerstone, bigger Aussie institutional investors.
Some super funds and what?
At the very least, they'll do kind of an arbitrage and they'll buy through their UK arm, and then once we list in ASX, they'll transfer the shares across. And so it would have been them buying, but they may have just bought through the UK vehicle of that same.
Makes sense. Okay. Greatland has separately announced today that alongside certain of its wholly owned subsidiaries have entered into a binding agreement with Newmont to acquire the subject, Javier which we know about. The net proceeds of the retail offer will be used for working capital purposes, as discussed just a moment ago. The reason: while the placing has been structured as a non-preemptive placing so as to minimise cost and time to completion, the company values its retail investor base and is therefore pleased to provide us with the opportunity to do it. Existing shareholders and new investors can access... We've just done all this. It does repeat itself a little bit here, doesn't it? I don't think I'll read much more of that.
No, just when does it close? That's the only thing I want to know from this. It'll be there somewhere. So there we go. 12th of September, 4:45 p.m.
So that's when it closed. So
and may close early if it's oversubscribed, and I suspect it will be.
I think it will be. I think this will be a hot ticket. Would they? I mean, it says it would close. I just wondered, would they take more money than they needed if it was offered? But I guess they wouldn't.
The 8 million euros, as far as I understand, is a cap. I think you could potentially have an because it says it'll close. So it'll close early once they hit the 8 mil. So nothing more than 8 mil euros for the retail. Not sure about the other. Normal placing, you can have an oversubscribed placing. So if they open that book build process and Merrill Lynch runs around with this story and it's as good, they realize it's as good as we do, maybe we raise a hell of a lot more. I didn't read.
Okay. Robin keeps flagging me.
Non-retail offer because it's an accelerated book build, so I think it can be oversubscribed. The institutional portion of this.
But that then means more shares.
Yes, it would be. It would be, and more money.
The admission document. I'm in the I probably shouldn't. Robin keeps messaging and suggesting the Aussie parent company is ahead, not the UK, in the admission document. We've not even got that far yet.
That's interesting. And again, don't care as long as we can retain our shares in in our ISAs.
I mean, you had to figure it would be an Australian company.
Any inclination, and that's going to be the main thing. That's going to be the first question for most investors. You know, if their transfers over, is there ever going to be a time in GGP's history in the future where you will delist from London and we would have to move our SIP and ISAs and lose that money or change it to another share? That would be disastrous. Don't.
Actually, sorry, Lux Peace just said something, and it's made me remember something that said earlier. If there is an oversubscription, that money goes to Newmont in lieu of shares.
What's that?
So if there's an oversubscription, the money that's oversubscribed goes to Newmont, and we give them less shares. So it's cash for shares.
Is that true?
Yeah, that's something that was read earlier. And,
wow, okay. Again, just think of the intricacies of how much they've thought about this deal.
Yeah.
Wow.
We can eat into the 20%, says Steve Williams. I mean, that's so. Yeah, I mean, imagine you just eat into that.
It's amazing.
So they can have
I would not be disappointed if we ate into half of that.
Wouldn't that be crazy?
I really wouldn't be disappointed. Obviously, we want to be the more diversified we can be, the better. They've got a 1 year lock in and a 1 year orderly market, I think it said. So in 2 years, if they don't like what they're seeing or they just want to cash out because they want to hit their 2 billion target, they can and will. And you don't want that overhang of somebody constantly selling that owns 20% of the company. Because even when you're releasing great, wonderful news and going up, if someone's constantly selling that rise, you're going to be held down. It's like warrants. It's a massive overhang. So I think that would be a potential good news story for the end of all of this. If that Newmont share reduces to 10 to 15 to something smaller, because we're more diversified, because it'll be institutions that'll be buying that portion. So
yeah,
to see where that ends up.
See, the producer's a little bit lagging on us, so he's just sent me a photo of the top hat structure. And when you look at the structure, actually, let me just see if I can just share it. Oh no, it's not working. When you look at the structure, the company that is at the very, very, very top is Greatland Gold PLC, GGP registration 5625107, which is exactly the same as the one at Company's House. The one underneath that is an Australian listed company. So I probably need to read the documents to try and see what is being said there. I'm not sure I understand it. London is the sole owner of the Aussie companies. Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought. Thank you. Okay, so are we happy that we've done it? This is the part you were looking at. The retail offers open investors' residence in the UK. Following release announcement, retail offers expected to close 4th of the 12th. Whew, I think we're there, right? He's reading he's got 650 odd messages to get through.
Well, I just got one to Trudeau on the chat, and she again. I hope she's right, but she's saying to be able to subscribe, you have to have an account with a broker who deals with primary bid, Interactive Investor, AJ Bell or Hargreaves. After that, you have to have cash good to go tomorrow. So in a trading account, ISA or SIP. I don't think that makes any odds, but you have to instruct them before the close of play Thursday, or you miss out. If oversubscribed, it may close early. So, not again. I think she just said that's her opinion. Yeah, don't know. Then Garga's also confirmed that in the chat. So, but I don't think anybody actually knows. We'll find out tomorrow. But that's a big one for me.
Sorry, I sometimes you get a comment and you're like, what? It's all on page 573 of the document. So if you're just joining us,
I'm pretty sure that he's being facetious, right? Because there isn't a 573.
there's only 4 on this book, but we've got one more PDF to go.
Do we?
I'm not going to go through the whole of the next one. I don't even know where you start on the next one.
No,
It's so bloody big.
I haven't even eaten dinner, so
Oh, bless you.
I came in very hot.
Well, I'll tell you what, right? It's getting late. Let me just keep scrolling because I'm going to find you a picture. And this picture is the new footprint of Telfer.
Oh, yes. I've got to see this. So where's this? Where are all the pictures? Which document are you looking at there?
This is the AIM admission document. I'm on page 80 of the AIM admission document. But I'm going to bring it up and
this is
put
the
it on your screen.
500-page document.
This is the 500-page document.
Oh, so he wasn't being facetious. Why can't I get into it? It's got a hyperlink there, but it doesn't work. Yeah, somebody did say the hyperlink's not working anymore on the website, so don't close this down because you can't reopen it, Liam.
That's all right. I've got it saved as a PDF.
Oh, great. Okay, brilliant.
Would you like me to send it to you?
Man.
I mean, it probably might be a bit... No, that's fine.
So now every single color on that belongs to us.
Yup.
We got our Jury JV back.
Yep. 100%.
We got Antipa's Newmont share.
Yep. And all those 100%. And
like that's confirmed. We've bought. That's 100% confirmed. We own all
that
of those
hasn't
JVs.
got the Javier on. The Greatland ones, because see this bit here, this area here. You'll know that as Pascal.
Yeah.
So that's ours. We've got another one somewhere. There's another one we've picked up, 5532 recently, I believe.
Rudol.
I mean, we've got all this in here. That's Black Hills, isn't it? So this is Scallywag. All that there is Scally. I mean, we've lost a little bit down here, which this bit down...
Antipa owns a lot of land, don't they?
Yep.
A hell of a lot.
To which we're now the managing partners.
Wow. And our Rio JV. We've absolutely consolidated the entire region, haven't we?
Which is why this is going to be a regional hub and spoke model.
And again, just to think back to the Grand Samuel valuation of 500 to 600 million with the 70% and Telfer, and you're looking here and you're going, but we've got so much more than that. I mean, this is going to take me forever to read, but I want to read every page.
I'm just gonna literally look at the pretty pictures now.
Yeah, look at that. Pastors and Jerry have very great land.
There you go. It's a bit easier to see.
Yeah. It's got Canning down there. And I haven't heard of Oak Over River or Salvation Well before.
I'll need to check that 5930. We can check that in the morning.
Wow.
And we've got some applied for as well. So we have actually, that is actually, see this little bit here, there is that gap. We have got that one under application. So we have filled the gaps. There's a little square just here that's currently not filled, but apart from that, we've got the whole area. I mean, someone's had to sit and write this document.
They've had a long time to do it. I got to page 200, said.
Oh, hang on. Irrecoverable undertasking takings. What's that mean? So Tembo Capital must be a new like a Wailu. I wonder why it talks about them. That's my point, really. It talks about Wailu. Do we know what that means?
So irrevocable undertaking. So I think that's just saying that they've committed to voting and to their portion of the placing.
Okay. I mean, this is all words now.
Gee whiz, that's a lot. Yeah, find us some pretty pictures.
Oh, look, it's the competent persons report.
Wow. They've been busy, haven't they?
I mean, look at all this.
Hey, Liam, it's going to be fun to find out if the LCA is still an issue.
No, right? Yeah.
Hey, let's see when we see Sean next week if the LCA is still an issue / never was.
I know, right? I'm gonna have to eat some humble pie on that because I swear blind that wasn't. Wow, look at that. That's quite a cool picture. I reckon that's the Newcrest in 2022.
Wow, I'm so excited. This is just mental.
I mean, we could go on like this forever.
It will be interesting to see the money of mine tomorrow. See what happens. Okay, so a message from Gaga says, Stuart, Liam didn't scroll down far enough in the primary bid document. Look at the first paragraph on page 3 of 4. Reference ISA. I am no expert, but it suggests ISA is allowed. I've highlighted in bold and underlined below.
I'm on it.
Price. Investigate primary bids, which offer, but so there's some more below. I still don't
There
see
it is. No, it does, including for using their ISA, SIP, or GIA. You said it. I heard you say it.
There it is. Investors wishing to apply or shares containing investment fund mutual by wealth manager for details. Yes. Now I'm giddy again. That's amazing. I think I might need to go and eat some dinner because I'm feeling rather faint.
No, that's totally understandable, my friend. Listen, thank you for doing this. You've abandoned your family.
You as always,
for the love of
respects you and the effort you put in and the group. And I know we've had a tough time of it on the group with a bit of backbiting and all sorts of rubbish that ensued, and one serious element that everyone knows about. But you've done such a wonderful job, Liam, and I think everybody respects you so much, and that's demonstrated by there was 280 people watching at one point. There's still now 191 people watching. There's 191 people here who actually give a shit about the work you put in to demystify everything for all of us. So from me, thank you. And hopefully from the other 1,000 odd people in the group, thank you. It is totally and utterly thankless task that you dedicate your time to. And if everyone knows the internal struggles you go through, trying to help people not feel insulted or hurt and try to be the fairest person you can possibly be on behalf of everybody, not just one, it's insane. And I think people should realize we're just like you, we're just investors who happen to have a real special spot for Great and Gold, and we don't want to be admins of any groups. We just want to help people not get burnt. We want to help everyone create knowledge, and we want to foster a lovely community. And it's hard to stop people in the community going at each other every now and then, but both of us have only ever wanted to just provide factual information, stop people getting burnt, help demystify some things which may worry people or concern people and make them do things they shouldn't or act upon things they shouldn't, and just be a general resource for giving peace of mind to investors, right?
Yeah.
We're here for you, but we're Liam, and especially, I just think, I hope everybody appreciates that you do this just purely out of the goodness of your heart, and we couldn't ask for a better leader for all of this. Thank you.
Thank you. People are thanking you as well, Stu. I mean, you've been as much as this part of the journey. I appreciate at the moment.
Every now and then.
At the moment, you're not quite there because you've got so much going on, but you have been. Your stewardship in this is just as important as mine.
I appreciate that, buddy.
And we're a community.
Personally, so this is hopefully the my bottom personally and financially. Hopefully, this is the start of the way back up. So I'm happy.
Yeah. And listen, to everyone that's still watching, all 190 of you, I dread to think how many of you are sat in bed watching me and Stu on your television. That's disturbing. Yeah, but seriously, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. I hope we brought some context, some entertainment, and the only people to burn right now, as Lux P just said, is Actors Ray.
Yeah. And look, I think we do this again maybe in a couple of weeks once we've digested things and we get a few questions out and do a proper Q&A and be a bit more prepared. This was obviously super on the fly. Well, Liam's been great. I just rocked up drunk in my suit and tried to. By the way, when I went offline, then my phone battery went dead, and when I was trying to plug it back in, I bashed over a cup of coffee all over all of my computers. So for that minute I wasn't here, I was also madly cleaning coffee off about 5 computers in front of me.
That's crazy. And just let you know that Gareth is currently in bed naked. On that note,
thanks, Gareth. That's now I can go to sleep. Thanks, that's brilliant. Awesome.
Have yourself a great evening, mate. Lovely to talk to you again. We'll do this in a few weeks. Everybody else, thank you for watching. Please like, please subscribe. Really appreciate that. Watch an advert all the way to the end because that helps me too on this particular channel. This is the only one where the adverts will work. Guys, I'm cutting it off. Stu needs to go and have something to eat. So thank you. Take care.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being with us.
We're miners.
Cheers. We are miners.
We are miners.